from 1884 until I purchased it, honestly, just a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago. That's the inside of the safe. This is pretty interesting. Local businesses dealt mostly in cash. Cash was king. The town treasurer could likely have thousands of dollars on hand during tax collection season. Such was the case in 1921 when two men broke into town hall and successfully broke into one of the two town safes, making off only momentarily when they were confronted on Main Street nearby and shot on the spot. In response to this episode, the selectmen hired a local firm to install anti-theft devices on the town-owned safes. The devices were cleverly installed not to maim, but to kill by suffocation. They didn't fool around. Any fool enough to drill into the safe to release the locking device was in for a rude and final surprise. Over the years, the word was not passed down about the lethality of these devices. I used to visit Town Treasurer Paula McMorrow at closing time in the 1980s. Just kind of a safety thing, because she was carrying a lot of cash in those days. I always remember she would haphazardly slam the door. Whenever I found this device, I thought back all those times she slammed that door and was very lucky. If Paula had only known at the time that she was playing with fire, she would have thought otherwise. Installed inside the safes were a sophisticated anti-theft triggering device loaded with a .32 caliber round of ammunition that would trigger a discharge of leftover World War I mustard gas, suffocating anyone nearby. I happened to discover this during the town hall renovation when I purchased this safe for $1 online. The result was a memorable visit from the bomb squad. It just happened to be the week of the Boston Marathon, and it was only a couple years after, the major incident there. So I called Chief Goodale and I said, we got a situation here. I saw this thing and I'm like, that's not good, because the door was open this whole time, just been sitting open downstairs. And so Chief Goodale came down and we called the bomb squad, and they were excited. They were like, this is awesome. We've only had one of these devices in all of New England in so many years can I send out a bunch of guys? Okay, sure. So we called the fire department. They came down, stood by, while Mark Anastas from Holliston Safe, this is him disabling the device. He was excited. I knew Mark for years and years in the hardware business. And he had heard about this, so he studied it. After I called him, he said, there was just an incident in the Midwest of one of these devices going off and killing a locksmith. So what would happen is you can't see it too well here, but basically they'd drill through top and bottom, and then they'd set some wire in there. And they could simply, by releasing, with basically going fishing for the rod that goes across. There's a series of pulleys in here. When that would release, tug on that from using the wire, it would pull a fusible link, which is right down here. And inside of here is a .32 round that would then drive a plunger here into the canister. The canister is marked what it is. It's from World War I, and it's mustard gas. So it was kind of fun. In fact, I'm not sure were you on then? Were you on? Whoever was the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, now we got two of them. There's another one at the town treasurer's office still. It's there today. So the town was like, thank God we found this. Mark Onassis is like, no charge. I'm going to do this for free because this is exciting for a locksmith to get to do this. And the selectmen were like, well, we need to get the other one disabled too. So they paid for the whole not the locksmith part, but anything that was, they needed to be done to get the second one disabled. Sean Marchand of Togey's, I hired him. He came down and he dragged the safe out, put the boom of his wrecker down in there, pulled that safe out, weighed about 800 pounds, and put it on the ramp truck, and we brought it over to the storage locker in Whitensville. And I had purchased it because I wanted to give it to a gift of a friend who owned a dairy in Bolton who was looking for a safe, a real safe to work. So that safe is currently up in Bolton. Chief Parsley resigned as chief in 1923 after 33 years, but continued as a police officer under the direction of Benjamin C. Crooker, who was also the town's caretaker of schools, dog officer, fire chief, caretaker of the town hall and the common, and constable posting town warrants. For the first time, the police department had an operating budget. Crooker purchased badges and lockup keys for all the police officers. Those officers were William Parsley Jr., that's Parsley's son, and Sr., Lawrence Snow, who ran the grist mill, Frank Wellman, Leo Murphy, Charles H. Marshall, Henry Stearns, Louis Bates, Daniel Bates, Leroy Colcord, George Welch, Edward Houghton, and Nathaniel Jones. During these years, it was common to see either Parsley or Dan Bates twirling their newly assigned billy clubs. This is one of them. This is Parsley's billy club. And these are the jail keys. One set of the jail keys that were issued. They'd swing them, and it became very popular with the youth to see them. It was an influential experience to see the police officer swinging his billy club. They would do nightly door checks. The early 1920s were a unique set of somewhat dark time in American history. Frivolity abound. There were regular jinx dances held throughout town. The lighting of fires to abandoned buildings was very common. Some organizations worked for liberties and freedoms, while others resisted change. One such organization that resisted change was the Ku Klux Klan. They were making a resurgence in the 1920s following World War I. They were harshly against prohibition, religious tolerance, and any foreign-born persons. Their cloaked and robed figures terrorized the general public, and Klan gatherings were common in East Upton and West Upton and West River Street and Hopkinton Road. They would gather by what is now the site of the Grafton Flea Market, where several Klan weddings were conducted in front of a large burning cross. Photographs of these events are held by our society as remembrances of those very dark days. On one such occasion, the town was celebrating the grand opening of the newly constructed George S. Ball School, now the Upton Police Station. The school had been a gift of the Honorable George W. Knowlton, who was 80 years old at the time in 1923. During the opening ceremony, several members of the Klan, all cloaked, interrupted the event and approached the speaking pulpit. They attempted to present 3 Bibles to the 3 members of the Board of Selectmen. Mr. Knowlton became so enraged, he stormed from the ceremony, stating, "This is an underhanded act." And also, When the Holy Bible is used as a means to humiliate and insult, it is nothing short of sacrilege. He immediately resigned from the Board of Selectmen. But Knowlton earned a large amount of respect that day from the townspeople. And within a year, he was elected a state senator. But the Knowlton family would slow down on their years and years of donating heavily to the town. They built so many places in town. You can learn about that another time. And we all know that it's because of them and their extended family that we are very fortunate to have so many trust funds that remain today. At a clan gathering on Hopkinton Road, Chief Crooker was forced to call in the assistance from the state police, there being over 300 persons in attendance. The clan felled trees to block the roads from the police getting down to them. I should have an assistant. This is the only group photo I know of the Upton Police Department before 1965. And I've looked through a lot of photos, but this is the only one I really know of. I'm going to read the names. Front row, that's Henry Poirier Sr., Eugene Clausen, Joe Bebo, it's spelled wrong, Dan Bates, Edward Orff Sr., Alvin Nichols. On the very end, he's in uniform. Back row, left to right, I'm going to say that's Leroy Bates, Leo Hanfield, Arthur Hinault, misspelled, Frederick Bartlett, Richard Stockwell, Tom's dad, Ray Groffin, Arthur LeClaire, Oscar Bates, John Allen from West River Street, I remember John, Alfred Nichols, and Red Benoit. Pretty cool picture. This photo's not identified. I believe Gene Clausen is one of them, but it's Upton Police on the Upton Town Hall front steps, 1945, during the World War II welcome home ceremony for the troops. And here, again, I believe someone told me one is Eugene Clausen. This is the same welcome home parade ceremony for the World War II troops. Anybody know who that is? She has that desk in her home. So I just want to say, Donna Bates McNaughton, the granddaughter of Dan Bates, is donating tonight some stuff she literally found while I'm on the phone with her yesterday. She's like, oh, I got this suitcase in the closet. I'm like, yeah. It's a bunch of Dan's stuff. I don't know what to do with it. Should I throw it out? No, don't throw it out. It's records from 1957. All original stuff. So,
reports from 1957.
Police reports, all kinds of stuff.
And letters that my grandfather had wrote. There's one in there that somebody was speeding on Mechanic Street and that he was going to turn them into the registry. But they're very hard to read. You've got a big person.
That reminds me of a story. 1928. George Grebenstein. Who here remembers George? He lived to be 95. You got to remember him. Thank you. He was a good man. Yeah. I helped his daughter Victoria through near the end of her life with some things, and she shared a bunch of documents. One of which I sent across the street. George was a resident of Newton Highlands.